Today I'm going to teach you in 6 easy steps how to calculate your macros for fat loss or for muscle gain. And at the end of the video, I will also show you some free apps that you can use that makes the process even more easy. Don't want to waste any of your time, so let's get started. Okay, we start with step number 1, which are the basics, but you have to know them. So there are 3 macronutrients. We have the protein, we have the carbs, and we have the fat. So the proteins are there to keep you, to build and maintain your muscle mass. The carbs are there for fuel your workouts and important for recovery as well. And then we have the fats, which are important to supporting the hormones, important for brain health, and it gives you that full feeling. Okay, so for protein, there is 4 calories in each gram. For carbs as well, 4 calories in each gram. And for fat is the only one who is 9 calories in each gram. So this is step number 1. Now we go to step number 2. We have to calculate the TDEE, which stands for Total Daily Energy Expenditure. So basically it means the amount of calories that you need in order to maintain your weight. So you don't lose, you don't gain, you keep the weight the same. But to calculate this, we first have to calculate the BMR. The BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. You don't have to know this, but I just want to explain it to you. Okay, so the basal metabolic rate is actually the amount of calories that your body needs just to survive. Okay, we have a formula for this. Again, you don't have to know the formula, just write it down so you have it. Okay, it's called the Mifflin-St. Jeor formula, and we start with an example from men. So the formula goes like this. We have men is 10 times the weight in kilos, so let's take 80 kilos, plus 6.25 times the height in centimeters, let's take he's 180 centimeters, minus 5 times the age, let's say he's 30 years old, plus 5. So if you exactly fill it in like this, you get the number 1780, so 1780, yeah, 1780. Then you have to multiply it. So this means what you see here, 1, 0, 1, 3, 3, 5, and 6, 7 is the amount of times that you do physical activity in the week. So let's say that person, the number we had was 1780. Let's say he does workout between 3 and 5 times. So you take 1780 times 1.55, and then you get the number 2759. So 2,759 calories. That's what he needs to maintain the same weight. Of course, for some people it will be a little bit more, a little bit less, but we just have a basis to start with. So that's what's step number 2. Okay, so here we are at step number 3. We have to pick a goal. So you either choose fat loss or you choose muscle gain. So let's take, for this example, we choose that the person wants to gain muscle. So we take the example from step number 2, which was 2,759 calories, which was his maintenance. So that's the amount of calories that he needs in order to keep the same weight. He's not losing any weight and he's not gaining any weight. So the guy wants to gain muscle, so you pick between 200 and 300 of calories you're gonna add to this number. Okay, for this example, we're just gonna add 200 calories. So we pick between 200 and 300 because you don't want to be too aggressive. You just want to keep it steady, you want to keep it clean. So the same for fat loss. If the person wants to lose fat, you also deduct this number between 200 and 300 from this. Okay, hope this makes sense. Okay, so now we go to step number 4. This is the most difficult step, so please pay attention. Okay, for step number 4, we have to set your macros. Okay, so macros, if you still remember from step number 1, it's carbs, fats, and protein. So for protein, to set the macros, for protein, you do 2.2 times kilo. So let's say if you're 80 kilos, you do 2.2 times 80 kilos, times 80. Okay, for fat, is 25%. So the total amount of calories that you have, you take 25% of that, that is your fat. And then whatever is left is carbs. Okay, so let's go to the example so you know how to calculate it. Okay, so the example that we took was this maintenance calories, 2,759. And we say that the person wants to gain muscle, so we're gonna add 200 calories. So the total number, 2,759 plus 200 is 2,959 calories. Hope you still get that. Okay, now we go to protein, what I just, in the example, the person was 80 kilos, so you do 2.2 times 80 is 176 grams of protein, which is 704 calories. So if you still remember, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. So if you do 176 times 4, you get 704 calories. I hope that makes sense. It's same if you have 704 calories and you divide it by 4, you get this number. Okay, so this is your protein. So now we go to fat. What I explained, fat is 25% of your total amount of calories. So the total amount of calories is this number, what you saw here. So 2,959, and we take 25% of that. So what you do 0.25 times 2,959, which gets you to 740 calories. So 740 calories, if you still remember, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So if you have 740 calories divided by 9, you get 82 grams of fat. I hope that still makes sense. So the same, if you do 82 times 9, you get 740 calories. So now we have calculated the protein and the fat. So we still need to do the carbs. And carbs is ever what is left. So the total amount of calories was 2,959. So we deduct 704 and 740. 704 was the amount of calories for the protein and 740 was the amount of calories for the fats. So you add those two numbers together, you deduct it from this number, and then you get 1515, so 1515 calories. Okay, so if you still remember, the carbs is the same as protein. 1 gram of carb is 4 calories. So if you have 1550 calories, you divide it by 4, then you get 379 grams of carbs. I hope that still makes sense because this is the most difficult part. So it's the same if you add 704 calories, 740 and 1500 calories, you get exactly the total amount is 2,959 calories. So guys, I hope this makes sense. If not, just play it back and watch it again. So now we go to step number 5 and 6, which are pretty easy steps. So if you got this, you get the most difficult part. Okay, so here we are at step number 5, which is also very important. You have to weigh yourself correctly because a lot of people get this wrong. For example, if a person weighs himself on Monday at 6 a.m., then he weighs himself on Thursday at 8 p.m., you get a lot of fluctuations between weight. I mean, if I weigh myself sometimes on a Monday and then I weigh myself on a Tuesday in the morning, sometimes there's a kilo difference because it depends on if you hold more water, if you went to the toilet in the morning. So this is not an accurate way to weigh yourself. So what you need to do, you need to stand on the scale every morning after you went to the toilet. So make sure you do this. Every morning when you wake up, you go to the toilet and then you're going to stand on the scale. You're going to write this number down. You don't have to write it down yourself. There's a free app that I use. It's called Happy Scale. So if you download the app, you can just fill in your weight. For example, on Monday, you're 75 kilos. Then on Tuesday, you're 75.2, etc. So you fill in from Monday till Sunday, and then the app gives you a weekly average. And if you do this on weekly basis, you see in the graph, you see if you're gaining weight or if you're losing weight. So that's, for example, if you took the calories that we did in the steps number 4. So for example, you weigh yourself for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks, but you don't see any difference in weight. You basically stay the same. So what you're going to do, you're going to add a little bit more calories. For example, you're going to add 100 more calories. So this is a very clear way to see if you're hitting your progress, if you're losing or if you're gaining weight. Okay, so then we have step number 6. Of course, this is pretty obvious. You have to track your food because if you don't track your food, of course, you don't know what you put in your body. So you have to buy a food scale. So make sure you get one. It costs a couple of dollars or euros. And then you can download the free app. I use myself MyFitnessPal. I still have the free version. I think for now you have to pay for it, but I'm not 100% sure. You can also download MacroFirst or you have Lose It. There are many different free apps that you can use. And every day when you eat, you fill the amount of grams that you use. So if you eat 100 grams of rice, fill in 100 grams of rice. So make sure, guys, this is very important. Otherwise, you cannot track your progress. You cannot see how many calories you get into your body. So make sure you track your food and make sure you download one of those free apps. Or another one if you find another one. Okay, guys, so these are all the 6 steps. And then I want to give you some bonus tip. First, don't underestimate protein because a lot of people do, and a lot of people have issues with getting enough protein in their body. I mean, of course, you can supplement with a protein shake, like for example, like yogurt. There's a lot of protein, and of course, meats, chicken, lean meats. Then you have eggs and stuff like that. So make sure, guys, don't underestimate it. Make sure you hit your goals of protein each day. Okay. Second one is don't stress too much about carbs and fats. I mean, if you hit your daily protein and if your daily amount of calories, so for example, you need 180 grams of protein and you need 3,500 calories. If you hit your calories 3,500 and you achieve your daily amount of protein, then don't stress too much about carbs and fats. I mean, it's not a problem if one day you eat a little bit more fat and the other day you eat a little bit more carbs. That's totally fine. Just make sure you hit your calories and you hit your protein. Okay, and then of course, which is also obvious, consistency beats perfection every time. Guys, just make sure you're consistent. You don't have to be perfect. Be consistent. Do this for months in, months out, and I promise you, you will see results. Anyways, guys, I hope this video was value for you. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, please subscribe, and hopefully see you in the next one. Take care.